listening to Left at the Valley 2.0.
Hi, this is Todd Miller, and I took a left at the valley.
I know we shouldn't have to scream that we're atheists. You know, we don't have non-astrologers and all that. But with the religious people taking over the world, I mean, we can either speak up or be pushed into a corner.
I'm proud to be an atheist, a skeptic, a non-believer, an infidel, a heathen. I call it how I see it. I say it's ignorance and you just call it faith and unsubstantiated claims. That's something to be ashamed. I'm an atheist.
Coming at you from finally rainy BC, Alligator, Florida, and what the heck, Texas, this is Left of the Valley 2.0. My name is Kevin, and at my funeral, just take the bouquet and toss it in the crowd and see who's next.
There you go.
That's good.
Joining me as usual is a team that says, faith doesn't give you answers, it just stops you from asking questions.
It's very true.
He doesn't know the difference between ignorance and apathy, nor does he care. Brett Lee.
That is true.
And he forgot where the sun rises, but then it dawned on him. Benjamin.
Hey.
Oh,
Guys,
I get it.
back.
I get that one.
You guys had a great week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. So today we'll be talking to Marie LePage, and we'll be talking about religious trauma. She's a counselor, but that'll be in the second half of the show.
Okay, so we are going to have a woman then.
We are going to have a woman.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This was a real sausage party right now, and
Wait a minute. There's nothing bad about, three guys, it's okay. We can talk between boys, right?
yes, because there's not enough white male voices out there.
That's
macho
right.
Man,
There's not enough macho man and white voices out there. White males.
Where have all the macho men gone?
I don't know. What happened to the village people?
The good old days, when men were macho.
We're
So macho.
Oh, geez.
Oh, God, I love that song, too.
Right, it's a great song. Yeah, I love it.
Great song. It really is.
It's very entertaining. Like,
Absolutely.
how do you hear that and not just bop like a little bit?
You got
Exactly.
to. You got to.
Anything from the village people actually is kind of like that, too. Right? Let's face it.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this show is brought to you by our patrons. You can go to patreon.com/LATV and become a patron and get an unedited, untouched version of the show. So anyway, let's get into our chit chat. And this is the part where I put like chit chat. There we go. Chit chat ticker. Perfect.
Wow.
I know, right? I'm getting this done. Guys, I know for you guys in the States, you might not know this, but the province of Alberta here in Canada is in COVID trouble. And I mean big COVID trouble. The premier of the province is a guy by the name of Jason Kenney. The province right now has basically asked for the rest of the country. They've declared a state of emergency over COVID. And right now, as we speak, they have the worst cases of COVID, not just across Alberta, not just across Canada, but on the continent, even worse than anything in the U.S.
Wow.
To give you an idea, the stat says apparently they have 45% of cases of COVID cases in Canada, despite only having 11% of the population.
That's insane.
Whoa.
That's insane.
Holy shit. What's going on?
Well, this is what we've always said on the show, and we've been saying this for a long, long time. Jason Kenney is a conservative politician. He's also one of those guys that basically said, you know what? COVID's probably a hoax at the beginning, right? He said that. And he basically played by the book. He was trying to do a bit of Trumpism kind of politics. And this is coming back to bite him big time. Now, he's even asking the other provinces in the country to take some of the patients because the hospital system in Alberta is beyond overburdened at this point.
Wow. And Alberta's the Texas one, right? That's like what they
Alberta
call
is
it.
the version of Texas. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
This is why I keep saying on the show, and we've said this many, many times, politics matter, the way you vote matters, and this is proof of it right there.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, he's completely done a 180, and now he's actually supporting COVID passports, which he was completely against from the beginning.
Vaccine passports? Like
Vaccine passport. They
right.
have kept their economy open. They didn't want to shut down anything like that. It's coming back to bite them big time. And this is a problem. It's a problem to the point that you guys might not know, but Canada right now is in the midst of a federal election, and the guy who was the main opponent to Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, is a guy by the name of Aaron O'Toole. He was doing very, very well until this. He was actually doing very well to actually the Liberals and the Conservatives are actually in a dead heat, and the election is happening in the next couple of days.
Damn, really? Oh,
Yeah. So for a while there, it was looking really bad. But because of this, Jason Kenney, the Premier of Alberta, might have inadvertently given the election to Justin Trudeau, because Aaron O'Toole supported Jason Kenney. And he also said that if he was Prime Minister, he would do the exact same thing.
wow.
And now all the press is looking at him saying, what did you mean by that? And they're holding his feet to the fire. And he's looking like a complete idiot now.
Oh man, that's great.
So what you're saying is that Aaron is an O'Toole and that's Trudeau?
Wow, that was very good.
10 points on that, Benjamin. 10 points. That is
Yeah, wow.
absolutely awesome. Good man. You just came up with this on the fly. That's awesome, man.
You thought of that as soon as all three of those names had been said, and you're like, I got this.
Exactly. I got this. I'm all over it.
So this goes back to what we've always been saying on this show. The way you vote matters, and I hate these people that say, "Oh, it doesn't matter who you vote for." Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. And COVID is a prime example of this. Of as much as I despise politics as much as the next guy, the way you vote and the way you participate in politics does matter, and it does make a difference. And you can see that right now in Alberta. So hopefully this gets better before it gets worse. In other news, speaking of COVID, Cuba. No, in your neck of the woods, Brent.
Yeah, that's right around the corner.
Right around the corner. It's down the road, right?
Down the river, I
Down the
guess.
He
road.
just pulls out his binoculars and looks at Cuba.
That's right. They're about to become the first country to vaccinate kids 2 and up.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow, okay.
Now, Cuba, you might not know, but they're actually very well known for their medicine. It's one of their biggest export. They're actually some of the best doctors in the world are actually in Cuba.
Is that how they kept Castro alive for so long?
Maybe. They actually have to almost thank the U.S. embargo on Cuba, because once you have an embargo on so many products, what do? You develop other aspects of your economy, and medicine is one of them.
Yeah. Huh. I wonder if that's a place that people like Americans go to get like Xanax and shit.
It's one of the places.
I don't know. So other countries, they sell stuff like that over the counter and everything.
Oh yeah, and the medicine in Cuba is incredibly cheap. For
Right.
something that you guys would pay like $100 there is almost like a nickel down there.
Yeah.
Cuba actually made its own vaccine. So they didn't rely on like Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer or anything like that. They made their own vaccine, and they started inoculating kids 12 years and up this past week. So there's a push to put kids back in school in Cuba, because they don't have a whole lot of access to the internet like we do. So doing classrooms, virtual classrooms, is very difficult for them. So they're really trying to put the kids back in school, which is understandable.
They don't have internet access, but they got a better vaccine than we got. That's crazy. Damn.
Well, it depends what you concentrate on, right? For example,
Right.
It's amazing when you think about, for example, in the world of electronics and in computers, the U.S. leads the world in artificial intelligence, developing artificial intelligence. But they usually develop artificial intelligence for commercial purposes. As if you go to places like China, they're trying to develop artificial intelligence, but more for bureaucratic purposes, right? So it depends what your priorities are. And Cuba's priorities are obviously very different from the U.S. or Canada's priorities.
Right.
You don't want to be governed by a computer. There's a whole episode of Star Trek Next Generation about it. And
Yeah, but you could just fool them by asking them a question, a rhetorical question. That's how you fool the computers, apparently, in Star Trek.
What is it? My logic is undeniable. I Robot.
I Robot. That's right, with Will Smith. Good one. 5 points for that. So this is where Cuba is right now, and Chile down way down south there has actually expressed to start again, do the same thing as well. So that's going to be interesting to watch that.
Oh yeah.
In other news, did you guys hear that a carbon capture machine? This is a machine that's capable of removing 4,000 tons of CO2 per year, has been turned on in Iceland.
Oh shit.
It's the biggest of its kind. This name is actually named Orca, which is Icelandic for energy. It's the largest carbon removal facility in the world. It was built by a company called Climeworks, and the machine uses fans to draw air into filters where they capture the CO2, and then it's heated, and then it's collected, it's dissolved in water, and then it's buried in basalt rock formations where it crystallizes into carbon minerals. So they're actually sucking air in it, and they're trying to remove the carbon from it and burying down into the ground.
This sounds like the plot of the movie The Core.
And on top of that, the machine is actually using geothermal energy, so it's very, very green at the same time. It probably, let's put it this way: for 100% of carbon emission it collects, it might release 10%. So it captures 90% of it and really kind of puts it into the ground. So this is great news if you're an environmentalist. And it's going to be very interesting to see where that technology heads down the road.
And it's really just getting sucked right back into the thing. I mean, really,
Yeah,
exactly. It comes out, goes right back in, and it's
oh boy. Oh man. Oh god. Where's my list? All right, so let's move on and let's do a top 10. Where is my top 10 music?
I don't know.
There it is. Well, since Sabrina's not here today, I guess I'll do the top 10.
okay. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it.
It's her list, but I have to do it. So
Yeah, so more of Kevin talking, which he hates, apparently.
yeah, you know me. I don't like to talk a lot.
He's shy and quiet.
So today's top 10 is the top 10 worst things to see on your performance evaluation.
Oh God.
When you're at work, you're trying to put a good image and all that, and sometimes some of the comments can be kind of snarky, so it's going to be interesting. These are the top 10 things you don't want to see on your performance evaluation as an employee. Okay, number 10. Employee works well when under constant supervision and cornered like a rat in a trap.
Okay, the rat in the trap thing was unnecessary.
I think so too. I think it's gone a bit far, but I think it's a very apt description. But really, can you apply that to just about everybody? When you gotta... yeah. You don't want to
like a super supervised. Yeah. Jesus, that's funny.
This one is number 9. This was probably one of mine. Performance evaluation. Since my last report, the employee has reached rock bottom and has started to dig.
He switched to a pickaxe now with the rocks.
Look, you can't go through bedrock.
You can try.
You think there's a rock bottom, but you can always go deeper. We've learned this with Donald Trump for sure.
No, that was a Minecraft joke. I'm sure some people will get it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed that. I just know what Minecraft looks like. I don't really know much about anything about it.
It's too boxy.
It's great. Well, that's the greatest part.
It.
It's kind of like having Lego that you just have an infinite amount of.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the box people they creep me out. They creep me out. I can't. People aren't boxy, y'all.
Are you sure?
I'm 99% sure, yes. But
okay, so now we know how to scare Brent.
Yeah, don't come in with box faces.
I'm going to have a box face costume next time.
It's a paper bag over your head with little cutout. That is terrifying, by the way.
You could make your image on your little thumbnail there. Number 8.
Just take my picture, put it on like a box, and print it out flat. Ears to the side, face on the front, just stretched out.
Demon!
The power of Christ compels you. Number 8. When she opens her mouth, it seems that it's only to change whichever foot was previously in there.
Look, I'm real tired of my left foot. Time for my right foot.
Oh, God. I always used to say you insert your size 10 foot and your size 12 mouth, but this is good.
That's pretty good.
Number 7. He would be out of his depth in a parking lot puddle.
Oh, God. Wow. Okay.
I don't know who these evaluators are, man, but I love them.
I'm keeping that one, not just for evaluations, but for just...
Yeah, I know, right? This is
like internet insults. That's a solid one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's has multiple uses. Really.
Right, you're not going to get kicked off of Facebook for it either.
Nope.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm keeping this list. You're right. I'm keeping this list. This is a really good list.
And those sorts of insults are hard to come by these days. So
You know what? It's hard to come up with a good insult on the fly. You have to have this in the back of your mind somewhere, prepared for just the right occasion. It just comes
Yeah,
out
it's called
of-
back pocketing. You keep it in your back pocket for when you need it.
There we go. There we go. Number 6. This young lady has delusions of adequacy.
wow. Delusions
Another
of
one.
being
It's
adequate.
another one.
Oh, this is a
These are like-
fantastic.
These are starting to come off like yo mama jokes. Like she's so delusional. She's delusional for adequacy.
Number 5. He sets low personal standard and then consistently fails to achieve them.
Yeah, all of these are solid. I'm saving these. Like I'm
Oh,
listening to this later, writing down a list. I'm ready to go.
You bet. This is really good stuff. Number 4. This employee should go far, and the sooner he starts, the better. Oh man!
Solid move. Yeah.
I happen to be a supervisor in some aspects of my job, so I think I'm just going to keep those because when I have to start talking about people, I'm just going to use some of these. I think. Number 3. This employee is depriving a village somewhere of an idiot.
Okay.
Oh my god, this is so good. Oh, this is gonna keep my day so far. I'm crying here on the show. Oh boy. Number 2. His men would follow him anywhere, but only out of morbid curiosity.
Wow.
I didn't know you fellas.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. And the number 1 answer, the number 1 thing you don't want to see on your performance evaluation. I would not allow this employee to breed.
Jeez.
That is just
man.
brilliant.
Don't go to Texas then. That's
Right.
Oh,
Stay out of Texas.
even with Sabrina not being here, this was just absolutely great. So,
yeah, those are very good.
oh,
Do you
boy.
feel like it would have been funnier if she read them?
You know what? I don't know, but it's
I don't know.
I would be laughing either way. So
You still found him though, and that's
yeah, exactly. So kudos to you, Sabrina. Even if you're not here, you just made us laugh for sure.
She's
So
with us in spirit. Okay.
she's
Yeah.
with us in spirit. With us in spirit.
Aw.
Here at Close High on. Benjamin, you got something for us, bud?
I do.
Fantastic. Where's my music? Oops, that's not the right way.
Hey.
Jesus Christ. Where's my music?
I don't know. Just let's just sing it. Things that make you go, Sing it, Brent.
Oh, there.
Go on, Brent, sing it.
Things to make you go.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I know. I'm a
So-
hell of a singer. So I get it.
Last month in Atlanta, this gentleman decided he was going to steal a van. And the van he stole was a mortuary van. So as he drove off, the dead body rolled out of the van.
No!
Yes, literally like a comic or something, like some sort of like comedy. He steals the van and the dead body rolls out of the van.
Oh my god. Yeah, that is like a scene from a comedy.
Like it's straight up like a scene. Like and this is real life.
Yeah.
You know, of course they secured the body, and as far as this news article I found, he still is at large. But it's like, what are you doing with the mortuary van?
Oh my god. Yeah, that's like right where the side character that's got way too much personality is like, oh, that's not good. Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh.
the dead body rolls out. Yeah, like
It's like the guy that's stealing a hearse, right?
Yeah. But you want to close. Why didn't you close the fucking door at least?
because I think they had it run. Okay, so they don't quite spell it out, but I think they had the van running. They were moving it because it was from when they were bringing the body in.
They were picking up a body.
So I think the door was open, and he jumped in, drove off, body comes out.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh my god. Yeah, because he was okay. So he was trying to do it quick before they got back out.
Right.
They just left the door open or something with the key in the ignition.
This is my assumption. All I know is for sure the article says he drove away and it caused the body to come out of the van.
It's like that scene from Bad Boys 2.
It would have been better if he had to slam on the brakes and the body would have flown forward into the cab with him. Where he
somehow falls into the passenger seat. He just leans over and he goes, "Hey, buddy," and buckles him in, and they drive away.
And he gets arrested. The rest of the movie's Weekend at Bernie's, and
exactly.
That's right. He gets pulled over because the body doesn't have a seatbelt on. He's like, man, you got to buckle up your body at least. You know?
The cop doesn't care that he has the dead body.
He's just like,
I was about to pull you over because you're in an HOV lane there, but then I realized you had a body in the seat, so you're fine.
Totally counts.
Yeah, and
does it count? Like if I had a dead body and I was transporting it, could I put it in the front seat and use that as an HOV?
Right. That's
what's the legality here? Like, we gotta have some sort of lawyer listeners who can tell me.
You know, that's kind of a good question. I mean, what are the legalities of transporting a body? I mean, can you transport a body? You know, somebody, I don't know, he's injured or he dies in your car on the way to the hospital. Does that count? You know, did they find you? Or somebody? Can you pick up a dead body on the side of the road and put him on the back seat? Oh,
hell no, not that. No, you got to call the cops. They got to investigate that. But let's just say, okay, for sake of argument, you're driving your friend to the ER, right? And he dies halfway there. Then you see the HOV lane, get in it. Are you legally in the HOV lane?
Well, you just trolley dilemma the fuck out of this thing.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Okay. You're like, okay, here's the scenario. It's very specific.
It is a very specific, just to go to the hospital as well. Right? Fly down the highway.
I saw this cartoon of the trolley dilemma, and someone's like, I fixed it. In the two tracks, they put a U shape at the end, so the trolley circles back around, kills everybody.
Oh shit!
It's like that meme circulating around Facebook where the cop pulls this woman over and says, you know, you're in a HOV lane, ma'am. You can't go in there by yourself. She says, I'm 6 weeks pregnant, so there's two of us here.
Yeah, in Texas. Yeah,
I thought exactly. That is brilliant. And you know what? The funny thing is that could probably legally work as a defense if you actually did something like that in Texas. So
right, you told me this is legally a human, and that to stop it would be murder. So
yeah, exactly. Right. So it would probably. That's going to be interesting.
More rights than I do, so it's,
No, I can't murder you.
No. It's going to be interesting to see if there's going to be actually legal repercussions to those abortion laws they passed in Texas. That's for sure. So, oh boy, interesting. Thank you, Benjamin. Much appreciated.
Oh yeah,
Brad, my friend, you got another brother moment for us?
I do. So, you can go ahead and share my screen whenever you get a sec.
Oh yeah, I'll share the screen.
So, just already this is insane. So here's the headline: Jim Baker and Mike Lindell sold Bible pillows for kids during a fake telethon.
What? Bible pillows?
Yeah, like Mike Lindell. So he has these fake. I mean, they call it. I think it's like they call it a fake telethon because usually in a telethon, you know, you're raising money for a particular charity of some sort or something like that, you know. And of course, they're just raising money for themselves, and so it's not. Yeah, it's like it's like the two most of the famous Christian grifters of our time united this week for a telethon, quote unquote telethon, to defeat cancel culture.
Oh, you mean consequences?
Yeah, exactly. Consequences for white people, especially.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. During an episode of his show earlier this week, televangelist Jim Baker invited My Pillow MAGA cultist Mike Lindell to speak about.
I love that MAGA cultist. I love that. I love they put that.
We need to coin that. Or I mean, it's hard to coin, but we need to keep it. We need to psychology.
Yes, let's always refer to Mike Lindell as a MAGA cultist.
Well, let's do something better. Let's not refer to Mike Lindell.
That'd probably be better. But Mike Lindell to speak about their planned event to raise money for themselves. So this is a clip from the beginning of the show.
Are you playing this clip?
Yeah, briefly.
Okay.
I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's long, but it's really funny to hear the intro, I think.
Okay, sure.
So here we go. Hopefully you're sharing.
Is the inventor and CEO of My Pillow, Mike Lindell.
Ooh, MAGA cultist,
And
Mike
musical
Lindell.
guest, Pastor Chopper Ward.
Wow.
Our co-host
Chopper
today are
Ward.
Marcelo Woodall, Mondo de la Vega, Lori Crable.
Who are these people? Oh shit! I think it had it synced up for me.
Street at
Hold on a
Morningside,
sec.
USA. Here's your hosts, Pastor Tim and Lori Baker.
Okay.
Woo.
Fuck, I think it already had it. I think it had it synced up for me. Did you know that
I think
Jim
it did.
Baker was like on the coattails of Pat Robertson?
Proportions.
You know, here we go.
No, apparently he was actually Jim Baker was apparently the original host of the 700 Club.
Oh, that's what it was. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was the opposite then.
Surprised the heck out of me. It's like, you gotta be kidding me, really?
What? That is so weird. Just heard that on a citation needed episode.
Yes,
I was like,
exactly.
That's fucking nuts.
Maybe the stuff you learned.
Okay, well here, let's see this clip. I think
Everything they could to silence our voice.
They did.
And we're going to take back what the enemy has stolen from us.
That's right.
A little over a year ago, we were ready to build a new studio. We had the foundation money in the bank. We were ready to build. And the government came in and the left came in and they wanted to silence our voice, and they did everything. And then when they took the credit cards away.
Hold on, it couldn't have anything possibly to do with the fact that you were selling like silver water that has like literally no medical use at all for as a COVID cure. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Not to mention all the other fucking grifts y'all do. It's got nothing to do with that. It's the cancel culture. But here, I just kind of wanted to show a little bit of that, but. You gotta see these fucking pillows. Like, they're insane. Look at this shit. Look at these things.
What the?
Let me see if that'll make it bigger.
Pillow.
Oh, there we go.
They're very, very. Oh my god!
It's
now,
like Go on. What were you saying?
This looks like a pillow that came out right of Disney. Right?
Wait, are they $100 each?
Yeah. I think.
Or is it $100 for all 5?
Children's.
Oh, 5-pack. Yes, it's all 5.
Yeah, so it's 5 pillows. So it's
so for
$20.
our listeners that are just listening on audio, let's describe those pillows. So essentially, they're very colorful. You have the pillow, and you have the book of the Bible that's open, and it seems the image kind of pops out of the book.
Yeah, it's like Noah's Ark. You know, man, it reminds me of that.
But read carefully here. It's not the pillows. It's 5 pillowcases.
5 pillowcases. Oh, they're not even
for $100. It's $20 a pillowcase.
Whoa!
The stories of the Bible. Oh, well, I mean, I got to give him credit. The pillowcases look kind of good. They look like something you would put on a child's pillow. Like, this is a child.
Yeah,
it is very colorful, right?
There's a website too.
Like, I would have loved to have a pillow like that when I was a kid.
www.lindelloutreach.com.
But what's funny is that they take these Bible stories that a lot of times are fucking horrific, you know, and then they make them all cutesy Disney style and like, you know.
Oh, you mean like Noah's Ark and the whole story where pretty much everyone dies?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's incest.
Yeah, and once again,
go for it, Ben.
Alcoholism.
Yeah.
Which
once again, incest in the Bible because everyone was dead except the family. So Adam and Eve, of course, started incest. Then God was like, there hasn't been enough incest. Let's kill all the people so that these families eventually have to intermingle and bang. So we're all
start over again.
So anyone who believes in the Bible, they believe in being a product of incest.
I want to see a pillow cover where they have the two she bears attacking those 42 kids and ripping them to shreds. I want to see that pillow.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in this one, it's Daniel in the lion's den, which, you know, if you actually read the story, it's pretty fucking sick, man. That's a sick story, you know, about like them putting him in there to be eaten by lions.
And then the lions decide, no, he's too skinny. We don't like him.
Yeah, exactly. And then the people that got the king to do that to Daniel get thrown in there, and they don't even touch the ground. The lions leap in the air and rip them to shreds. That's a story you read to kids. That's great.
That Daniel story has done so much damage because there's been numerous cases of deluded pastors in this day and age that just walk into an enclosure at a zoo with a lion praying, thinking as a test of faith, and they just get torn to pieces every time.
Yeah, like I seen this done at Barnum and Bailey. I got this. Okay, Barnum and Bailey can do it so easy. I got this.
Yeah, that story is responsible for so many deaths already today.
Jesus will protect me.
Yeah,
I don't know what is this one up here. What's this story? Like I know that's Jonah
I
the whale.
would think that'd be Genesis.
Yeah, it's like the Garden of Eden.
Oh,
yeah, that's the
okay.
one.
Because there's like a waterfall and a flamingo.
Yeah,
very picturesque. You know, very nice.
Yeah,
I guess maybe the Tree of Life. Is that the Tree of Life?
I must say though, honestly, the design is good.
Yeah,
they are designed very well.
They look very
Disney. Yeah.
Well, when you realize, it's essentially the story springing out of the book of the Bible. There.
Yeah, it's like the Page Master. Remember the cartoon, the sort of like half animated, half live action one with Macaulay Culkin, where he opens the book and the stuff comes out.
No, I don't. But they kept reminding me of the never-ending story kind of thing. But
apparently, you didn't have eyes and ears connected to a heart in the '90s. All right. So that is a delightful movie. Delightful.
Oh man, part of me feels so bad for these people because this is another grift, of course. I mean, they're getting this done and they're just going to use that money to do stupid things with it. But you know, at the same time, it's just like, yeah. Well, what do you do to stop that, right?
No, yeah, it's just ripping people off, and it's for no other reason other than they keep getting in trouble for fucking doing literally hawking shit, you know.
Well, but this one's smart though, because they're selling something that actually works for its intended purpose. You slide it over your pillow, it covers your pillow.
Yeah, they're not poisoning people with this one. That's a big step up.
You can't really mess that one up. You can't really screw that one up.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine the meeting they were have with their lawyer there. They're like, okay, let's sell this. And he's like, no. Let's sell this. No. And someone's like, hey, Mike, don't you sell pillows? What if we did some sort of...
I got an idea.
Something with pillows. And someone's like, a pillowcase. We can't get in trouble for that. And the lawyer's like, yes, please, pillowcase. Do it now. Do it now, please. Please, God, I'm tired of this.
What ideas you guys have? This is the sanest one so far. Pillowcase.
$20.
$20 a pop pillowcase. People will buy it because it's about the Bible and it helps against that evils of cancel culture.
Yeah, that's the
started with real pillows at first and said, no, your pillows are made out of crap.
They are crap.
Yeah, they're garbage.
I had one forever ago. It was crap.
Might as well just be full of rocks.
Oh, man.
Crack rocks.
Oh, thank you so much for really for that. That was fun. All right, guys. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're way ahead of schedule, but that's okay. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll be with Marie LePage, and we'll be talking about religious trauma. So stay with us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's where atheists gather. This is LATV 2.0.
All right, our next guest is Marie LePage, or LePage if you prefer. She's a consultant, and she's a snappy dresser and a snazzy dancer. Marie, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
You're not wrong, and you don't even know who I am. I am a snappy dresser and a good dancer.
We do our research here, man.
Wow. I feel so seen.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Maybe you'd be
Thanks
so
for having
kind.
me.
Well, yeah, you say that now, but you might regret this in about 5 minutes.
Oh, is it going to take that long?
Oh, absolutely, at least. Maybe you'd be so kind to give us a quick bio as to who you are.
Right. A quick one? Okay.
Well,
Well,
you can take as much time as you want, really.
all right. I'll try to do the long and short of it. So I grew up in Minnesota, evangelical Christian, experienced a lot of doubts growing up, but religion kind of killed my sense of self and self-trust. And so I just kept on investing in religion and shame and became a missionary in Mexico for 2 years after high school. Then after that, I left and was pretty disillusioned and kind of entered about like a decade of just legit trauma that was not being dealt with. And in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, I've been really investing in recovery and healing and kind of became a public voice within the ex-Christian atheist realm. And since then, it's kind of blossomed into even more. And now I talk about more ways of deconstructing binary thinking, religion, some forms of religion being that. So I think that's probably the briefest bio I've given. So now I'm kind of an activist in this realm of recovering from rigid ways of thinking. That's probably the broadest way I can put it.
I think that's a very good description, very good bio. We did several shows a while back. We were talking to Janice Selby, and we were talking about the conference on religious trauma and all that. So you obviously are taking part in the same field.
Yes.
What is your assessment of the vast majority of there? I know it's a very broad question here, but what's your assessment of the vast majority of people that are leaving the faith? What do you see in them?
Well, the latest impression that I have on the community that's recovering from rigid forms of religion is that something that is unaddressed and difficult to approach for them is the lost sense of self, the sense of being safe within your own mind, of having some kind of objective way to interact with the thoughts and experiences that you're having, and an ability to actively be involved in the narratives that continue to feed your behavior. That's something I've noticed that in the community that's recovering from religion is difficult for them to approach because it tends to be a realm that's exclusively dedicated to spiritual, like wooey types of spirituality stuff. Because then you kind of have to dabble in I don't know, weird stuff. And I needed that for a really long time. I needed to reconnect to my sense of self. But every time I tried to get close to it, it was books that were just really wooey and used a lot of mystical language that I found to be incredibly triggering. And so I'm experiencing that people recovering from religion, the very thing that they need, they have triggers in approaching it. And so what I find to be one of my passions is to help people re-engage with a sense of spirituality, but like from a secular point of view. How can we have a discussion about how the mind feels without using really irresponsible mystical language that nobody even takes the time to define beforehand? So that's the biggest thing that I've been noticing about the community as of lately. And of course it has to do with my own personal growth, but yeah.
I've seen that whole thing where people are essentially replacing their religion with, like you said, the wooey stuff. It's like, I no longer go to church, but here, let me give you this tarot card reading and magic crystals and all that. So, like, is there ways to avoid that? Like,
to avoid getting into, well, I don't know. You know what? I'm split on all of that stuff, right? Because I have friends who use tarot cards, but they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like they know that it's a Rorschach for them. It's because like it or not, we project all of our shit onto everything around us. We look for symbolism. We look for signs. We look for patterns. And I see people using forms of spirituality that you would think are inherently wooey, but they use it responsibly, consciously, and I see them gaining a lot of benefit from that. So my response isn't how do we keep them away from that, but how do we engage in ritual and weird spiritual practices that have a bad reputation for kind of surrendering your intellect. And then how do we engage with them responsibly, intellectually, and use them? Because our brains really are kind of fucked up, and why not just use that? So we like symbolism, we like projection and that sort of thing. So yeah, no, I'd say tarot cards are chill. Just kind of be conscious about how it works, and lean into it in that direction.
So as long as you take it as this is not magic, you know, this isn't like telling you your future or anything. It's more the fact that you react a certain way tells more about you to the person presenting you the card than the card does to the person.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, to piggyback on Benjamin's question there, it seems to me that including my own deconversion, I also went to kind of like the woo phase, and it seems that it's only to answer the questions of, you can't. It's too much of a leap to go from not believing in Jesus to not believing there's a force out there at all. To go to complete atheism and we're alone in the universe. Is it too much for a brain to process that, or do we actually need to answer that? Well, there's got to be something out there. The argument from ignorance is it really something that we need as a species to answer? You figure?
Well, I'm not in charge of the species. I'm only in charge of the discussions that I have with people.
We thought you were in charge of the species here.
I know. Sorry, I slipped in under the radar. But I don't know. My answer to that is it's up to each brain is different. So my brain in leaving religion didn't do that. It wasn't like, oh, there's got to be something. I was like, fuck this, fuck all of this shit. I don't want to touch it with a fucking 20-foot pole. I was mad. And I haven't touched it. I hadn't dabbled in anything even somewhat tangential to spirituality for, 15, 20 years or something. So that's how my brain dealt with it. And that wasn't great either. That wasn't healthy for me either. So we all have different ways that we're going to process and respond to our deconversions and deconstructions and our exits from these faiths. And it's not up to me to say, that's the right way to do it, or this is the right way to do it. Because at the end of the day, these rigid binary systems and structures damage us. They just simply do. And if you're not damaged by religion, you're damaged by something else. And so I try to take a more realistic, humanistic point of view of just move forward, as much as you can, move forward. And if you hang out in spirituality and you actually believe in the crystals and stuff, at least there's not a God that hates you anymore and is killing your sense of self. Humans don't become perfect overnight as much as atheists want to think. We do have a non-linear kind of healing process. And so do I want to do that stuff? No, that doesn't work for my integrity around what I'm willing to believe. But I do see why people hang out in that space. And since I don't have an army of religion burning people, which why would I want that? I have no army to send anywhere. So my view is I need to focus on what energy do I have? What mental capacity do I have? And where do I want to funnel that in terms of helping people move forward into healthier spaces? And I just get frustrated hitting my head on the wall, being mad about people playing with crystals and stuff. Cause it's okay. Just whatever, do what you got to do. I've got a long life to live. I can't fixate on, what they're doing.
It's funny. Cause I've gone through drug recovery. And it wasn't a crystal thing, but it was just a gratitude rock. I don't know if you've heard of that. But
gratitude rock?
It was just a rock, and I found it, and it was a weird looking, kind of cool. I don't know. It's just an odd looking little rock. And I just put it in my pocket, and it actually did I would each night when you're emptying out your pockets, it was oh yeah, and that's supposed to think about what you're thankful for, just little things like that. Do they do with the the folks that you talk to, like you think like the crystals and stuff, is that more analogous to like that? Like, it's just something that kind of like reminds you to do something or makes you feel better in one way or another?
I mean, I would imagine so. Yeah, like it's just conscious choice of using ritual and symbolism to, I don't know, somehow it helps. I don't know exactly why it helps. I know that it doesn't really hurt me. Okay, so I'll tell you one thing.
Okay.
I'll tell you something, and you have to withhold judgment until I complete the thought. So I've only told one person before you all.
I mean, I'll be judging you in my head, but I'll keep quiet.
Well, at the end of the day, even if you judge me, I don't give a fuck. But
there you go.
Point of the story.
That's healthy.
True. So the other day, so here's the full story, right? The other day I prayed again. I haven't prayed in like 15, 20 years or something. Question, what does that mean? What did that mean? What that meant is I was sitting on the swing in the backyard and I was looking up at the sky and I was thinking about what I'm passionate about, how I want to help people, how I want to change and embody myself more. And I just felt just this very fullness, this it's wordless. And I just felt this urge to just put it out symbolically. I don't know what that means. And so I just kind of felt like just saying it out loud to the universe. I was just like, I really want to go this direction. This is the energy that I have. I am looking, I don't know. I just kind of, obviously I was talking to myself. I'm not delusional. I know what that was, but there was something about allowing my mind to pretend that it was talking outwardly to something very large, even though I didn't really actually believe that. So again, it's back to the tarot. It's about using your imagination responsibly, like imagination can heal, playing can heal, and you can do those things knowing what you're doing and still reap the benefits from it. Placebo effect does work even if you know you are receiving the placebo.
Yeah, I do the same thing, so it's all right. I honestly, and I know I'm talking to myself, but I'm just basically reiterating to myself that like what I want and what I feel like I need to do, and things that I generally don't do that I know I need to do. I'll just talk about, be like, I really want to be able to be like whatever, and
yeah,
and it's sort of like praying, but it's talking to yourself. But I think as long as you recognize that you're not talking to some supernatural force out there, and you're just sort of just speaking like what you know what I mean, like to yourself to calm yourself down or whatever. I mean, there's so many reasons to do that.
Right. And it's interesting because there's when I experience my mind and what my mind feels like, there's the thought loops. There's the like, oh, I need to do this better. I need to work on this. I need to do this thing, blah, blah, blah. And it's just this very like insular, kind of stuck in a cage, walking in a circle kind of feeling. And I think there's some kind of power in telling your mind, okay, we're going to get out of that loop and we're going to put it out, project it out, whatever that means. I don't understand it, but it's just a frame of mind. It's a mental position to put yourself in when intentionally saying things about who you are, what you want to be. So it feels a lot different than just talking to myself, because I talk to myself all the time, but this is a very conscious talking to self, but projecting it outwards. And there's just something about that is very helpful for me. And I like doing that as long as it's being very conscious.
It's kind of funny you pointed out, and of course I've got nothing but respect for that, because essentially that's what we're doing right now, right? Just to sound a bit meta, but that's what we're doing right now. We're projecting into the void right now in the hopes that somebody out there is going to pick this up, right? I mean, there could be absolutely nobody who listens to this show or this podcast at all. We wouldn't know, right? But you're still projecting out there are your thoughts, and who knows, maybe they will help somebody down the road. So I think it's very human what you're doing right there, and I've got nothing against that. But
it's like that, but just doing it for yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
You're just putting it out there, putting, for lack of a better word, the energy out there.
Yeah.
Is it possible that as atheists, we have a tendency to, we love, objective truth, and we love to, talk about facts. And when you're dealing with people that have gone into the world of woo, are we atheists sometimes a bit too harsh on these people? Should we?
Yes.
Should we sometimes? Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Personally, yes, you are, Kevin.
No, you're stupid. No,
You
I'm just kidding.
particularly, Kevin, way too harsh.
I say that as a former asshole, you know, like I left Christianity and I was mad. I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not trying to project this onto what you're saying, but I was pissed. I was pissed and I let it show to anyone and everyone, and it was hostile. It was vitriolic. It was pretty bad. But I think an essential part of my healing has been to understand what happened to me, why it's incredibly possible for anyone to have gone through what I went through, to think the thoughts that I thought, to behave the way I behaved, to vote the way that I voted, to judge the people that I judged. The time that I spent judging religion was the time I spent denying my past. And the fact that I was that person, and I was a hurt person. And I needed love. I needed secure attachment, but instead I had a narcissistic spiritual father, and he fucked me up, you know? And so for me, healing from religious trauma means seeing everyone as human, even the Trump voters, you know? And I know that we don't have a lot of, I know.
Now we're going to have to shut you down. No.
I'm not throwing a parade for them. I'm just saying that when it comes to managing the energy that I have inside of me and my anger and like, what am I going to focus on bitching about and what am I going to focus working on? Like, I just can't manage to muster enough like anger for those folks, because I came from that. I was that. I know how much it hurts to have such a rigid viewpoint. That doesn't mean that like I'm focused on compassion towards them at the cost of focusing on liberation from those that they oppress. I feel capable of holding both of those things, compassion and justice. So I like that. What would that be called? I guess that's kind of the dialectic of holding those two opposites together and not apologizing for it. So I guess that's kind of the long answer to it, that I do feel like atheists could potentially engage in more compassion, at least internally, because I found it very damaging for my internal life to hate humanity so much.
Yeah.
So many large swaths. I mean, it just wasn't healthy. Was I wrong? Am I wrong in my viewpoint that religion in many forms is harmful for people? No, I'm not wrong. But I'm almost 40 and it's hard to be alive. So what am I going to do? Am I going to hang out with people that agree with me and then philosophically masturbate as a group about how much we hate these other groups and how they're damaging the world, and then never spend any time on our own self and our own health of self? Because that's the only thing I can change. That's the only thing I can do, you know? And then from there, then I can to connect better and more healthily with other people and actually provide some kind of healing other than judgment and hatred. So I don't know if that comes across heavy-handed, but that's kind of where I'm at with all of this.
Is it like, I wonder if it's like almost like a cognitive thing, because it reminds me a lot of like smokers, you know, and they smoke for like, what, 30 years or whatever, and then they quit, you know, and then they just can't fucking stand smokers. Like, they're just the first one to go like yell at them and judge them and tell them all this stuff. And so I almost wonder if it's like a way of like telling you made the right decision by being like this to them. Like, I don't know. It's just
because we haven't forgiven ourselves. If we're talking about ex-Christians here or ex-religious folks, I'll only speak for myself. I didn't forgive myself for what I did. And so when I reach out with so much hostility to people that are still part of that, I personally identified it as being a projection of not forgiving myself for how I behaved and what I did, and suffering trauma for years that I never.
Because I think with religion, those things are very different. Like, from a man's perspective, I personally believe there's less trauma involved for us. I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay, so I have two layers of thoughts. First of all, gender's not binary, so it's not just male and the female experience.
Yes,
but
fair enough.
I will engage in a discussion about people who are assigned female at birth and are raised as a female in culture, and then those who are assigned male at birth and raised that way, because that makes sense to me. So here's my latest perspective on this. Yes, AFAB people assigned female at birth do experience a lot of oppression and bullshit at the cultural level, at the religious level, and we are all working on it. We're fighting. We're doing our thing. But something that has occurred to me in the last few months of my personal growth and in new relationships that I'm having with men is that y'all are fucked too.
Yes,
I can attest to that. Yeah,
you watched your show before, right?
But you're fucked in a special way because y'all. I don't want to speak for you, so if you disagree with this, please let me know.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I don't want to speak for you, but I notice that people raised as male in this culture are traumatized. You are experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder from being raised male in a patriarchal society, meaning you are told you need to have the power, you need to be the best, you need to know the answer, you need to be better than everyone else, you need to dominate. You need to be successful, you need to make money, you need to work this particular kind of way of job, you can only dress this particular way. Y'all are put in this small little bubble of ways of expressing yourself and of being. And you all are not just rigid male structures of like, you didn't just come out this way. Like you were socialized this way. And so the consequences of being raised male in this culture and indoctrinated with those kinds of mental structures means that you are more isolated. You're less likely to ask for support, less likely to talk about your feelings, less likely to have more than one person to talk to about your feelings, and that person is usually your partner. And so you're only using one person for your emotional support.
If that.
Yeah. And so you all are experiencing your own form of PTSD from patriarchy. And my concern is that you probably know that already, but probably don't feel like there's space in society to talk about it right now, because it is so clearly important that the oppressed, the actively oppressed groups, at least from the perspective of the dominating group, meaning cishet white dudes, like that they need to have their voices elevated and the space needs to be given to them. So I experience a lot of men kind of hinting at being traumatized by patriarchy, but I don't mean to, I don't want to take up any space and talk about that. Whereas I think your voices are really important too, because we are all suffering from this. And I think it's every time I hear someone raised male talk about their experiences being raised in a patriarchal society, it becomes incredibly clear to me that we are all in this together, that we are all suffering from this together. You just experience more success financially and like in regards to like discrimination and stuff. So like, so that's my soapbox, that we are all suffering from this. And I think men need to take up space with each other to talk about how patriarchy has impacted you as a whole human being with emotions and with needs and a desire to connect and to be supported and to cry.
I thought I was only allowed to cry when my dog dies.
No. How many
And
dogs
also,
have
I'm
you
allowed
killed
to have
just to
one
be able to
emotion.
cry?
That's called anger. Like I'm allowed to have that emotion.
I think you bring an excellent point, and I was told as a young kid by an older fella, says, you know what? He says, when you're a man, you will quickly realize you're alone. There is no support group. There is no friends that will come and help you, anything like that. You really are alone. And to some extent, that's quite true. And I think you bring the point that people being traumatized, and even cis white males are being traumatized with that patriarchy. And that's probably one of the to make a slight detour here, probably one of the what you have such a virulent reaction to the whole woke movement, because these people are already kind of feeling repressed by the patriarchy, and then they're told that their opinion really shouldn't matter at all on top of that. So I think this that's a whole new ball game. We're not going to open that can of worm right now. But I think you make a very, very good point there.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the question is, what should we do as if we can understand that as an atheist? And of course, a lot of the times we look at people and we try to talk to them about what's objectively true, and we do it out of compassion, essentially, right? Because I think we feel that, I was bamboozled by religion. I'm out of it now, and I'm trying to tell you to wake up, right? Essentially. But what approach should we have then for these people that have decided to use woo as a crotch, or are not quite there yet?
Well, first of all, it's none of our business, but also, like, everyone in our position who feels a compulsion to make the world a better place by encouraging critical thinking, we're all going to approach that in a different way. Some of us are more prone to wanting to deal with it in one way versus another, and all of the ways can impact people. So I guess my opinion is you kind of have to figure out what you think is the route that you're best at, and blend that with being honest about the outcome. So if I'm just bitching on a podcast about how I'm so smart and listing out all of the facts, and I pat myself on the back every day for holding the world accountable for itself, I have to ask myself, what is the outcome of that? What is the statistical outcome of 100 people listening to this who have closed-minded views? And what is the outcome of all of those 100 people shifting at all with the kind of attitude that I bring into the discussion? I intuitively feel like it ain't going to do shit. And so I don't approach it from that perspective. I know there are people who do. Matt Dillahunty is one of those people, and he impacts people every day, and he has his reasons for that because he'll dialogue with these people who have really crazy beliefs, but he's changing people all the time, and it's usually the ones that are listening. And so he has chosen that route for his wanting to make the world a better place. For me, kind of coming back to what we were talking about at the beginning, is I have accepted that each of our journeys away from rigid ways of thinking is messy and unique. And I am in no place to decide where someone needs to be, because I've thought at numerous times of my life, like, way to go, you're there, you figured it out, you deconstructed the last thing, and now you are enlightened, now you can tell everyone, go out and spread the good news. But then I do shrooms, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh shit, I've got more stuff to deal with. I was wrong again. And so I just have realized from several periods of kind of just waking up to my own socialization and my own biases that I don't know anything. I don't know shit. And so my approach is one of meeting people where they are, being incredibly curious, and really deeply listening to other people, the people that I choose to listen to. So like, I probably wouldn't see myself in a situation where I'm like chatting it up with like I know I mentioned Trump voters earlier. I have compassion on them, but I'm not their friend. But like, I can't see myself being like, oh, tell me more about why you like Trump. Like, I no, I don't need that. But I am curious about people who use crystals, who call themselves witches, and like, what does that do for you? What kind of meaning does that bring to you? How do you experience that in your mind? How does it make you a better person? And I've learned a lot from those conversations, and I walk away from them not feeling like, oh no, I let in a demon and now I'm going to become wooey. I'm like, oh, I just met someone who's being really creative about how they are finding meaning and grounding in the world. And I don't see myself going in that direction, but I understand why they're there. And if there was an opportunity for me to just kind of like crack the egg just a little bit, I might do that if it feels right. But I'm not trying to go around being an asshole and like cracking people's heads open, because first of all, they won't let you do that. People don't on average in research, people don't respond well to just being like thrown facts in their face. And like, I was never convinced by facts. People tried to like deconvert me all the time when I was a missionary. And I was like, that's cool, but Jesus, you know?
But also Jesus.
But also Jesus. So
Yeah, you just don't
like,
get it. Jesus is amazing.
I have this thing that I do before I say things, and I always like to think to myself, what good will this do?
Yeah. What am I trying to do with this? And is it possible to make an impact here? Yeah.
I like your hands-off approach, but at the same time, I'm going to do a little bit of pushback here, if you don't mind. Do we not, as people that have deconverted, if religious faith or belief just existed in a vacuum, in the privacy of your mind and all that, that'd be fine. But we're social creatures, and these beliefs have actual consequences in the real world, politically especially. Do we not have some kind of responsibility to at least try to improve some of the conditions of some of these other peoples? Because there's actual real power here. I mean, let's take a look at what happened in Texas. This is pushed by religious dogma. There are real consequences to what these people believe and what they've actually applied to the real world.
Yeah.
Do we not have a certain responsibility at the point to really bring in the facts and say, look, you're affecting millions of people with your religious dogma. So can we really take the hands-off approach with these people?
Do you have all of the phone numbers of everyone in Texas to call?
Actually, I do. No.
It's a phone book. You can just go to
Yes,
I'm in Texas, so I can knock some doors.
I'm just saying that unless you work for like the government, there's very little that we can do other than like begrudgingly say, I'm going to go and convince people of something. Like what can you actually do? It's yes, we need to be aware. Yes, I want to participate in helping humanity deconstruct binary ways of thinking, religion included. So that's the other thing. I think atheists, the people. Yep, I'm gonna make a blanket statement, knowing that it's a blanket statement and that I'm not. But like the atheist community feels like they're like, yay! I'm not Christian anymore. I am the best. I figured everything out. But you'd be surprised how many misogynistic atheists there are. How many transphobic?
Oh yeah.
Atheists that there are. Sexist atheists. Like they. I speak as that was me. Like I deconverted and I was still homophobic. I was still transphobic. I was still misogynistic. I had internalized misogyny, but I clapped for myself but I left Christianity. And so I felt this like sense of righteousness and like going and bitching at everyone else when I thought trans people were not people, So like, I guess it's a roundabout way to answer your question. And it's just to say that, yes, we have a responsibility to contribute towards humanity's movement towards full humanistic, like treating people like humans, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long I'm going to be alive for. I could die right after this show. So I don't know how I only have this one life. And so I need to do a reasonable assessment of my character, of my personality, of my strengths, of my passions, and decide what angle do I want to take on contributing towards making the world a better place, aka contributing towards the deconstruction of binary culture within this globe. And so I choose the route that I choose, and I feel very deeply that I'm contributing in a very significant way for one human being body in this moment of time, in this time dimension, like this space-time dimension. So I feel really good about my contribution, and I'm not arguing with Christians online, but I'm still contributing in a profound way towards the deconstruction of religion, the deconstruction of transphobia, homophobia, non-monogamy, like all of the things. And so I've taken a wider view on what I think is the larger issue, which I've mentioned a few times, is this is the new Satan for me. And I call it the great binary. And because we are all humanity is we gravitate towards binary ways of thinking. And yes, it's an adaptive thing, but it's out of balance right now. And we're using it to dominate people and to restrict rights and to accumulate wealth and to subjugate people. So I see my mission less about like how to kill religion, but more how to develop minds to be less rigid of thinkers. So if I can talk to somebody about rigid ways of looking at monogamy, I'm talking about the same things, the same thought processes that would naturally then flow into their other kinds of binary ways of thinking. So to say it again, like I can talk to you about deconstructing monogamy and you're going to turn over here and be like, oh shit, I'm transphobic too. Oh God. So it's this larger conversation that I think can happen, and that's how I see my approach to things. And that's a long answer to your question, but yeah,
it's a good answer.
Well, it's a great answer. You don't have to worry about dying after the show. That only happened once. So I think you're fine.
Oh God.
And they got the those electric things, and they brought me back. It's fine. It was
you were the one that died.
Yeah, well, yeah,
yeah. Nancy was alive at the time. Nancy was an assassin, so you said.
Man, this is an intense show.
It happens a lot.
So Marie, going forward, how positive are you about the future of people getting along together as far as atheism is concerned, or do you think there's really a resurgence of backwards thinking that maybe the religious folks will bring us a new era of hatred? How positive are you about the future?
Oh, you're not going to like my answer.
Because
I don't care.
Oh,
okay.
I don't care. Like it goes back to what I just said. Like I have taken an honest evaluation of what's happening in the world. I have summarized that there is an issue of the great binary, and I am contributing in the way that I know best, the way that I can, and I contribute a lot. And whether I feel like I make a difference or whether I feel like on average things are getting better or on average things are getting worse is just a futile waste of energy that exposes me to profound pessimism or unrealistic optimism. And so instead, I just focus on my days and how I can contribute in this moment to the people that I'm talking to, so yeah, I know it's a societal issue. I know that it's problematic. I know that I'm aware of what's happening in the nation, and I just don't have a lot of energy to really think about where I think it's going because I already know how I'm contributing towards it.
No, I don't hate that answer at all. Actually, I think it's a very honest answer. It kind of reminds me of that. What was that movie with Kevin Costner where he was like a lifeguard, and he would say, I go out and I swim as hard as I can, and I try to save as many people as I can, and then the sea takes the rest, right? So I think that's a very honest answer.
Yeah.
So I want to go back just a bit, just to get a bit of a better idea as to where you came out of. You said you were raised evangelical. How did your deconversion happen, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. Yeah. So I started doubting when I was like 13. But I mean, I've been reflecting a lot on my childhood recently. You've caught me in the middle of a very intense growth period for myself. But
good time to catch you.
What's that?
Good time to catch you.
Yeah, very much so. I'm full of stuff right now. So when I was 13, I started doubting, and but I couldn't really pursue it wholeheartedly because I realize now, looking back, that I had no sense of self. My household was kind of it wasn't the worst household, but some of my parents were very emotionally distant and unpredictable, and that impacted me a lot as an emotionally sensitive person and just as a human being in general. And so I lost my sense of self at a very early age. And so when I came of age and I was able to start taking religion more seriously, and I did, I had doubts, but with the lack of sense of self compiled upon the indoctrination that I suck at my core, that my heart is a wicked thing, that my body is a disgusting thing. I was just, I had nothing to turn back to consult. I had nothing. I was gone, And so I just kept on reinvesting in religion because I was so full of shame for not being able to just believe and for it to not make sense. But I didn't have anything to go back to ground into myself at all. And so just more and more religion and more doubts and just so much cognitive dissonance. And school was hard because I was consumed by this. I was up and down. Am I atheist? Am I Christian? And are my friends going to try to convert me today at school because I go to a religious school? And so it just consumed my life. Am I okay? Am I okay? Did I pass the test? Does God see me with favor? You know what I mean? Like that was my entire like junior high school experience, just up and down and being seen as like I had cancer because I was having doubt and talking about it. But I didn't feel comfortable with my doubt either. So it wasn't like, yay, you talked about your doubt. Like, yeah, no, like as I trembled and terrified of what my friends would say about me and like that I would have to like engage in, and maybe this is my aversion to the whole like debating thing, because like when I was in high school, my friends tried to like debate me in the Bible. And I was like, I don't even know why we're having this conversation, but I feel this need to like debate with you. Otherwise then God's going to be mad. Well, like I gave you a chance to think about this and there's this person to talk to you, but you clearly didn't listen. So fuck you. So then I just doubled down and I was getting done with high school and I was just like, I thought I was a shitty human being. I thought I was a piece of trash and I felt confused about God. And so I just decided that the best thing to do would be to just put all in, dedicate life to Jesus, prove to him that I really, really like him and I really want to be his friend. And could he please talk to me? And so I became a missionary and just got further indoctrinated with even more extreme forms of religion. Luckily, that only lasted 2 years before I left. And then I got married to the first person I fucked. So that was fun. Married to him for 5 years, a narcissist. I just flushed like 5 years down the toilet. Like in that relationship, I was hurting so badly. And I remember very vividly agreeing to marry him because I sincerely felt that no one would ever love me, that I just got really, really, really lucky that this guy was willing to put up with me. I've deeply felt that, which is very, very sad looking back now, especially now that I practice consensual non-monogamy and I have 4 partners.
Nice.
Way to go.
Right.
Who love me deeply, who see me, who I can be myself around. And but anyway, derailment.
Dance card's pretty full there.
There's still room. But
there's 10 slots on the card, by the way. There's just
10 slots. Yeah, 10, okay.
Yeah.
There's no limit. I don't get polysaturated. So I divorced him eventually. And then I met this other guy that, like, again, serial monogamist, almost like he loved me too, but in a softer way. And so we got together, but pretty much every 2 days when we were dating, I would say, are you sure you're not tired of me yet? Like, do I not annoy you yet? So I had high anxiety attachment style. If you're familiar with attachment styles, are very, very anxious. But it was around that time, a little bit before that I ended up just fully deconverting because I was just, it's not even a story I really can tell, because I was just in a trauma state. I really was. I think I've been dissociated for probably 2 decades now. Not so much anymore. Now I'm getting out of it, which feels weird because now it's like, oh shit, that's who Marie is. Oh my God, she's great. So it's delightful. But back then I was highly dissociated and just kind of oozed out of Christianity and didn't really, and then again, it comes back to what I mentioned earlier about like in 2016, I started really getting invested in trying to deal with my religious trauma and doing the deconstruction now that I wasn't able to do. that's kind of how I deconverted, mid to late 20s, and it was just kind of messy, but a lot of the work around it has been done in the last like 5 years or so.
I just got one final question I got to ask, because I'm listening to your story and I'm kind of stunned by the how America is very well known for its love of rugged individualism, right?
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, religion will teach you to try to erase the individual. Yet even in your life, you went back to religion, even though there's a conflict there. You're trying to establish yourself. The religion's trying to destroy that in a way, but yet you go back to the religion. Why is that? Why do people do that? Do you have any idea? Any thought as to why
the
people
ruggedness seems to outweigh the individualism part? Like that seems to, rugged.
So is your question about like the period of time where I had doubt, but I kept reinvesting?
Yes, I guess so. It's a broad question. I'm just kind of curious, because we don't necessarily have the same kind of rugged individualism here in Canada. That love of it, but yet I'm just trying to find why people reinvest into the faith when they love so much to be an individual, and they don't have the same sense of collective that other nations might have.
I don't know, man. We're kind of fucked over here. Like, I'm still figuring it out too. I was just reading a book yesterday about the dimensions of humanity and how we're all prone to like wanting, autonomy and independence. And at the same time, we want community and connection. And life is all about finding that balance and not being overly self-sufficient and isolating, and not being overly connected and codependent, but something kind of like in the middle where you kind of just weave through a nice little healthy space there. So that's where I'm trying to go with my healing. But in terms of like when I was in religion, I don't know. I guess there's just a lot of dissonance there, right? Like that the culture was very individualistic, and yet religion was the exception, because somehow Jesus had a pass and he got to be this narcissistic, controlling personality because he's God. And I guess we just never really, we just felt like he got a pass because if he's God, he gets to do that. But then the rest of it, we get to be individuals. I don't know. I don't know how I don't have a good answer for it.
Nobody's food for thought. For sure.
A lot of that mental gymnastics that we did was just bullshit. And it's very difficult for me to try to recover or to conjure up for you any kind of rationale that I had during that time, because I mean, they mentally, like castrated us, so there's a lot of questions that I don't know how to answer, because I was to use a term, I was just kind of like spiritually castrated. Like I couldn't connect to myself. I couldn't think critically. I couldn't speak up. I couldn't use my autonomy. I was paralyzed by shame, so that's a difficult question to answer, because I was just brainwashed.
I love that. Castrated. I love that.
Do you love that?
Spiritually castrated.
I think it's a great term.
Kevin just said he really loves castration.
That's what I heard.
You heard it here first, guys.
I support you. Do what you need to do.
Maggie, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate it. If people want to find out more about what you're doing out there and helping people, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me at mariedelefant.com. That's Marie, the letter D as in dog, and then the word elephant, which is a large animal, .com. And there you can learn about the existential consulting work that I do. I talk with people who are engaging in consensual non-monogamy and need help talking that through. I also help people who are recovering from religious harm. And like we've been talking about today, I help people explore intellectually, what's the word? Like secular spirituality with integrity. So conscious spirituality, I guess.
Fantastic. And before we let you go, I gotta have you say hi. This is Marie LePage, and I took a left in the valley.
What's the last part? And I'm in left in the valley?
I took a left in the valley.
I took a left at the... Okay. All right, ready?
You ready?
Hello, my name is Marie LePage, and I took a left at the valley.
Fantastic. And that was Marie LePage. Great guest. I was pleasantly surprised, and I must say surprised by a lot of her answers. I really did not expect some of the answers she gave. But you know what? Good. I don't know.
That's what I want.
Yes, that's exactly what we want as a guest. You know, I don't want somebody that's so predictable. I really liked her soft approach. I think a lot of us, I think she's right. A lot of us are very forceful in our atheism. I think she brought up some very good points and some great things to ponder. And I look forward to hearing much more from her.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the it takes a village kind of thing. Like, you know, different people respond to different things, and I think that soft approach affects a certain demographic of people, and it's helpful.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? And the Matt Dillahunty shit affects other people. Like it just you know, it takes everybody. You know?
Yeah, there is no
comedy,
one
you know,
cutter approach for everybody. Obviously, some people will respond to. Remember when they used to talk about the firebrand atheism and the diplomatic atheism and all that stuff? Some people will respond to the firebrand. Other people will respond to a softer brand. And I think that the work she's doing is going to help a lot of people. And I encourage you guys to go support her efforts.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that was like a lot of what she was saying is the binary thinking, to stop that. It's not black and white. It's not this or that. It's
she's so right.
Yeah,
she's
never
so right.
black. It's never that simple ever.
She's absolutely right. We do have a lot of thinking like that. It's left or right, true or not, you know, black or white. We do that as creatures, so it's not surprising that we have a hard time seeing that there is more than that way to do things. Well, thank you so much, guys, for being on the show. Thank you to my co-hosts, Brent Lee and Benjamin, for being this. Thank you to Marie LePage for being our guest, and thank you for listening. You can follow us at leftatthevalley.ca. You can send us an email at leftatvalley@outlook.com. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at LATV Podcast, or you can become a patron at patreon.com/LATV, where you get an unedited, unscripted version of the show.
Yes,
Brent,
give us your money.
Yeah, please, just do it. Just okay, just
do it. Just do it. Brent, tell us about Unapologetics. Quick plug.
Unapologetics panel stream every Wednesday night at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Go on YouTube and just put in Unapologetics spelled with an X panel stream and check it out. It's a lot of fun. We're starting to have more guests. It's just a good time. We just it's like this, but much less structure involved.
Essentially.
Reaction videos too, the crazy video. Christian asshole.
And I've got a new hat. Can't wait to show it to you, Brent.
Oh, and we wear hats. That's Kevin a big seller.
Kenny has a nickname. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. All right, coming up next week, our old champion David Fitzgerald comes back. We'll be talking about time shards.
Yes.
And he comes back with his wife about that.
We'll be talking cool.
Yes, we'll be talking to Candace Gorman. We'll be talking about death and dignity. We'll have His Rawness on Raw. We'll be on the show in October, and we'll be talking about whitewashing in the school district and all that. And we'll have Hector Garcia. We'll be talking as well. Dr. Hector Garcia, you know, we love having him, and he will be talking about wokeness. So that'll be interesting. And of course, on top of that, we'll have our Halloween show at the end of the month of October. Lots of good stuff coming on the pipe as usual. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Anything else I need to add?
No.
I think we got it.
Go in peace, guys. Until next time.
Fighting this problem. Religion is a disease. It comes from culture. Only true on a regional scale. Science is universal. Or you could say that Horus isn't real, but Jesus is. Or Zeus, Thor, Mithra, Vishnu. You don't believe in them. I think
Oh boy. There we go.
Oh, all right.
Well, yeah.
All right, fine.
There's three of us.
I thought it would be cool to. It's all right.
You thought it'd be cool to just have you?
Just be me. Yeah, no, that'd be great.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, you're the best, Brad. Oh, boy.
I like attention. You know what I'm saying? That's become abundantly clear, I'm sure.
Okay.